Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. And I want to welcome you guys all back to the channel. It's been about a week since I was able to do a video due to that pesky Hurricane Ian. But I'm back this week and I'm trying to get caught up on all the crime news because every bit of news that was happening here in Florida was all about that storm. So let me get back into my swing of things. I'm back to work today and I'm back at the channel today. But as you guys know, before I get into the topic every day, I do like to do a missing person poster on the channel. So let me pull that up. JoJo Morales. JoJo was described as last seen on August 27th of 2022. He's 6 years old. He was last seen in Miami, Florida. He's a male Hispanic. Height is 3 foot. Weight 50 pounds. Brown hair and brown eyes. The belongings believed to be JoJo's were found in an abandoned AR in Maine, believed to be in Maine or eastern Canada. So it looks like he was taken from Miami, but he's believed to be in Maine or Canada at this point. So here's the circumstances regarding George's disappearance. A Florida Amber Alert has been issued for JoJo Morales, last seen in the area of the 23700 block of Southwest 184th Avenue in Miami, Florida, who was last seen wearing a gray shirt, gray shorts, and black shoes. The child may be in the company of Jorge Morales. Based on the additional information provided by the Miami-Dade Police Department, the missing child alert that was issued on August 31st for the child has been upgraded to an Amber Alert. So it's like this is who he's been last seen with, is Jorge Morales, and it looks like his grandmother is Lillian Pina Morales. And it's a $10,000 reward for bringing him home. And if you can contact the Miami-Dade Police Department with any tips at 305-471-8477, or you can always call 911. Let's bring back JoJo Morales back to where he belongs with his family in Miami. So I'm a little behind on some of this because this was all posted on the 30th of September and October 1st about the autopsy report of Eliza Fletcher, a 34-year-old Memphis, Tennessee kindergarten teacher who authorities say was kidnapped while on an early morning run earlier in September, was beaten and shot to unaliving. Eliza Fletcher, a wife and mother of 2, sustained a gunshot wound to the back of her head from immediate range and multiple fractures to her face, according to a newly released autopsy report obtained by Law and Crime. There are 2 semicircular defects to the skull consistent with a single gunshot to the head, with the bullet traveling in a posterior to the anterior, back to front, and right to left direction, a forensic anthropologist with the West Tennessee Regional Center wrote in a summary of the report. There are fractures to the maxillary consistent with a blunt impact to the central facial area. The hyoid and thyroid are unremarkable. As previously reported by Law and Crime, surveillance video appears to show Fletcher being forced into a dark-colored SUV while she was jogging in the 3800 block of Central Avenue near the University of Memphis campus at about 4 a.m. on Friday, September 2nd. The footage reportedly showed a person exiting the parked SUV as Fletcher passed by, then running toward her, grabbing her, and forcing her into the passenger side door of the vehicle. Authorities reportedly said they found evidence of a struggle between Fletcher and her kidnapper. Cleothan Abston, 38, aka Cleothan Henderson, which he seems to want to go by, was taken into custody on Saturday, September 3rd, and charged with multiple felonies, including 1 count each of especially aggravated kidnapping and unlawful carrying or possession of a weapon in connection with Fletcher's disappearance. After authorities discovered her body on September 5th, additional charges of first-degree unaliving and first-degree unaliving in perpetration of kidnapping were filed against Abston. Her body was located approximately 7 miles from where she was taken in a moderate to advanced state of decomposition, per the autopsy report. That's so sad. So my assumption is, remember there was like a 4-minute period they said that they were sitting in that vehicle before it took off? I'm going to assume that he shot her, and at least shot her at that point, and maybe he even beat her at that point. Fletcher's cell phone and water bottle were found outside of a house owned by the University of Memphis after she disappeared, the Memphis Commercial Appeal reported. DNA on a pair of slides found at the scene reportedly matched Abstin's, who was seen on other surveillance video wearing similar slides days earlier. And I mean, it had nothing to do with his jail thing, but I think he's so used to wearing slides because he's been in prison most of his life that I guess that was just comfortable for him. And at this point, he might as well get used to them because that's all he's going to be wearing is those prison slides. Additional surveillance footage obtained by investigators reportedly showed Abstin cleaning a dark-colored GMC Terrain, a vehicle matching the description of the one used in Fletcher's kidnapping, for more than an hour after Fletcher was taken. Data obtained from Abstin's cell phone also reportedly placed him near the intersection where Fletcher was abducted at the approximate time of her disappearance, and his brother reportedly told investigators that Abstin was, quote, acting very strange when he returned home on September 4th. Fletcher, a junior kindergarten teacher at St. Mary's Episcopal School, was the granddaughter of Joseph Orgill III, a billionaire who ran Memphis-based hardware distributor Orgill Incorporated in 2021. Forbes listed Orgill as number 143 among the largest private companies in the United States. After his arrest, Abstin was charged in a separate kidnapping that allegedly took place on September 21, 2021. He faces additional counts of aggravated R, especially aggravated kidnapping and unlawful carrying or possession of a weapon in that case. Yeah, that's the case that we previously discussed, that if they would have checked that SA kit earlier, he would not have been on the street to attack Eliza. But we've gone over that. And that's in my previous video. Alicia Franklin, the alleged victim of the 2021 kidnapping, claimed that Abstin forced her into his car at gunpoint and AR'd her. She since filed a lawsuit against the city of Memphis over what she described as its negligent failure to investigate the attack. I completely agree with her, and I back her 100%. They did not investigate that attack very well. They let the kid sit there. Come on, guys. Cleotha Abstin should and could have been arrested and indicted for the aggravated R of Alicia Franklin many months earlier, most likely in the year 2021, based on all of the information set forth in the preceding paragraphs of this complaint, and the abduction and of Eliza Fletcher, unaliving of Eliza Fletcher, would not have occurred, the complainant states. Abstin had previously been convicted in the 2000 kidnapping of a prominent area attorney and forcing him to take money out of an ATM. That was when he was only 16 years old. He was released in 2020 after serving 20 years behind bars. And if you remember, his track record of crime has been all the way to he was 10 or 11 years old. And here is the autopsy report they have listed here. Reportedly, this unknown female, while was discovered without signs of the 7:07 hours by law enforcement. Death was pronounced at 21:06 hours by investigator Pam Ware. Memphis Police Homicide Lieutenant Sharbus made the official notification and advised that the death was a suspected homicide. Therefore, jurisdiction was accepted by the medical examiner's office with this investigator, along with Dr. Daniel Harrell and Dr. Benjamin Figueroa, responding to the scene. A brief body examination was performed and the descendant and scene documented with photography. The descendant was transported to the West Tennessee Regional Forensic Center for further examination, positive identification, and for final deposition. Pamela D. Ware, investigator, 9/5/2002. So this would be one of the forms. It looks like there's 13 pages here, so let me just kind of sift through here. Okay, there's her case number. So her body was identified by her fingerprints. Let's see. It looks like there was 2 persons present at her autopsy. Her pathological diagnosis was gunshot wound to the head, intermittent range, entrance posterior aspect of the right parental bone, injury to the calvarium, basilar skull, and facial bones, exit left aspect of the frontal bone, no projectile is recovered. Trajectory back to front, right to left. So I wonder if they discovered a bullet. Let's see, blunt force injuries, number 2, contusions, right thigh, subcutaneous hemorrhage, right leg, maxillary fractures, incomplete LE Fort type 2 type. Moderate advanced state of decomposition. So here's their cause of death: gunshot wound and blunt force injury of the head. Manner of death is homicide. Let's see. Okay, evidence of injury states gunshot wound of the head, indeterminate range, a 2 by 1 centimeter keyhole type gunshot entrance. Defect is located on the posterior aspect of the right parental bone, 3.1 centimeters from the vertex of the head and 4.5 centimeters to the right of the posterior midline. The external table of the right parental bone has mostly external beveling with an area of sparring at the posterior aspect. The internal table has circumferential internal beveling, radiating calvarial fractures associated with the defect involving the right parental bone and frontal bone. No suit is associated with the bone by visual inspection. The projectile travels through the cranial vault and exits through the left aspect of the frontal bone. The brain, brainstem, and cerebellum are absent due to extensive decompositional changes with insect activity. Oh dear. So I guess she was there long enough that bugs were getting to her. And I apologize, I'm not really good with this medical terms. The exact injuries to the parchemia cannot be determined. A 1.5 by 1.5 centimeter gunshot exit defect is located on the left aspect of the frontal bone, 3.5 centimeters from the vertex of the head and 5.5 centimeters to the left of the anterior midline. Radiating fractures associated with the defect involve the frontal bone, left orbit, left temporal bone, bilateral orbit plates, and spine fin bone. No skin or soft tissue is associated with the entrance or exit defects. No projectile is recovered. The trajectory of the wound path with the body in the anatomical position is back to front and right to left. See separate forensic anthropology report. And then they go through her blunt force injuries. A 1/4 inch blue contusion is located on the lateral aspect of the right thigh. A 1 1/4 inch blue contusion is located on the lateral aspect of the right thigh. Full body dissection shows subcutaneous hemorrhage on the anterior aspect of the right leg. The bilateral aspects of the maxilla have linear, vertically oriented fractures, consistent with an incomplete LE Fort 2 type fracture. See separate forensic anthropology report. All right. External examination. The body is received in a sealed bag that is open to show that an adult woman with a weight of 124 pounds and a body length of 66 inches. The body is in a moderate to advanced state of decomposition, with the majority of the skull and facial bones exposed and dark brown to black discoloration of the remaining tissue of the head, neck, and upper aspects of the torso. The remaining aspects of the body have brown, red, and slight green discoloration with marbling, skin slippage, and bloating as photographed and diagrammed. The body has an extensive insect activity, most prominent around the head, neck, and pelvis. The scalp hair is detached from the body and received in a separate bag. Oh dear. The scalp hair appears blonde with associated insect activity and blood. The hair is placed in a bun with 3 hair ties, one of which was cut during the removal process. The bones of the majority of the face are exposed with multiple fractures, as described in evidence of injury. The eyes, left ear, and nose are absent. Oh dear, guys. I would not want to be on the scene of something like this. Poor Eliza. The right ear is deformed due to decompositional changes. The lips are absent. Multiple teeth are absent without overt evidence of traumatic avulsion. Multiple teeth are located within the body bag, some of which were recovered during scene identification. Rigor mortis is partially in the lower extremities. Liver mortis is absent. The body is cold to the touch. It's refrigerated. So apparently she must have been out there long enough for those insects to really get to her. And I don't know how much of it was the monster and how much of it was her being out there in the open, outside. The neck has decompositional changes as previously described. The thorax is normally formed with decompositional changes as previously described. The abdomen is slightly bloated and firm to palpation, but without a palpable fluid wave or intra-abdominal mass. The right and left aspects of the abdomen have areas of subcutaneous tissue exposed with associated insect activity. The back is normally formed and symmetric. The external genitalia have extensive insect activity with distortion of the labia majora, labia minora, and intralis. See additional procedures below. The anus and anergectal junction have dark discoloration associated with extensive insect activity and bloating. Oh dear. The upper extremities appear normally formed. The left shoulder and arm have extensive insect activity with the lateral portion of the left clavicle and proximal aspect of the left humerus exposed. Paper bags are located on the hands. The hands have evidence of degloving. The fingernails are intact. The nails of the right thumb and index finger were evaluated, clipped, and collected during scene investigation. The fingernails are partially covered in pale orange polish. The lower extremities appear normally formed. The anterior aspect of the left thigh has extensive insect activity with areas of subcutaneous tissue exposed. Paper bags are located on the feet. The toenails appear intact. So, let me see. Yeah, this is highly disturbing. Not only was she attacked, not only was she kidnapped and attacked by Cleo, the monster, he shot her, he beat her, and he dumped her to be as like waste out there behind that home, and she basically succumbed to the insects and stuff, so it's really awful. Yeah, so this is all about her cardiovascular system, which let me see, I can go through part of this here. The cardiovascular system. The pericardial sac contains a minimal amount of thin red fluid. The heart weighs 193 grams. The coronary arteries are normally formed and without atherosclerosis. The atria and ventricles have normal atomic relationships and normal blood flow pattern. The myocardium is pale red pink and soft with decompositional changes. The left ventricle wall, right lateral ventricle wall, and intraventricle septum are 1.0 to 1.2 and 0.1 to 0.2 and 1.0 to 1.2 centimeters in thickness, respectively. The valve leaflets are thin, dark red-brown with decompositional changes and without overt vegetation, clarification, or anomaly. The aorta of normal caliber with all major arterial branches arising in their appropriate atomic relationship. The aorta is free of significant atherosclerosis and is without aneurysm formation or dissection. No systematic venomous abnormalities are identified. So I'm not going to go through all the systems here. Oh dear. Yeah, there's some disturbing stuff coming up. I'm going to link to this article with the autopsy also if you want to read it all the way through, but I'm already seeing some more disturbing stuff. This is already disturbing, but it looks like it continues to get very triggering. Let's see. Well, yeah. And that's only up to page 5 and 6. Alright, well here's toxicology. This one would be good. Samples of liver and decompositional fluid are submitted for toxicology analysis. See separate toxicology report. I don't know if that's going to be in here because it might be early for that. Okay, here is a essay kit. The pubic hair is easily removed with minimal manipulation, and thus pubic combings are not obtained. Speculum examination performed prior to autopsy examination shows extensive insect activity within the vaginal canal. The visible aspects of vaginal wall on the examination range from pale pink to dark red-brown. The internal vaginal canal on autopsy shows decompositional changes with no overt evidence of injury. Detached pulled pubic hair, vaginal swabs prior to speculum and during speculum examination, and anal swabs are obtained and placed into evidence. So I guess there's no details on that. Okay, then they did radiology. Looks like they collected FTA blood, spot cards, fingerprints, pulled head hair, fingernail clippings and clippers, toenail clippings and clippers, gastric fluid, bags from hands, bags from feet, hair from stomach, the essay kit, and personal effects. Her clothing and personal effects include a pink ring, left ring finger, and 3 black hair ties. No clothing was received. Oh, sheesh. So that the top and the shorts that we saw Eliza in, apparently they were not at the scene. Summary and interpretation. All right, here we go. This 34-year-old woman, identified as Eliza Fletcher, was reportedly on a run and was the victim of an assault when she was placed into the vehicle on the morning of 9/2/2022. She was ultimately found outside of an abandoned house on 9/5/2022 in a state of decomposition. Death was pronounced at the scene. Per report, a shell casing was recovered from the scene. So there's our shell casing. Autopsy examination revealed a perforating gunshot wound of the head. The maxillae had an incomplete Lefort 2 type fracture consistent with blunt injury to the face. Toxicology analysis performed on liver tissue and decompositional fluid revealed fentanyl and methylbelite, non-fentanyl. So why is there fentanyl in Eliza's system? That's the question. Wow, why would she have fentanyl in her system? Based on all currently known and available information, the cause of unaliving is gunshot wound and blunt force injury of the head, and manner of unaliving is homicide. So why did Eliza have fentanyl in her system? That's the question. Let's see what else is in here. This is the other anthropological exam. I want to get see if the toxicology's in here. I'm thinking there's no toxicology yet because I think it takes some time to get that. Let's see. Although here's a lab report. Here we go. All right, here's the lab report. Fentanyl, it says 10 ng/mLs in the decomposition fluid, and then they found norfentanyl 1.6 in the decompositional fluid. So why would she have fentanyl in her system? That is really strange. Then she's got caffeine, which that doesn't surprise me, probably from coffee or some pre-workout. And then there's more fentanyl that was found in her liver tissue, and then norfentanyl as well. Wow, that is the $1 million question. Where did Eliza get fentanyl input into her system? Okay, that would be the results right there. And let's see what else is in here. Wow. Let's see what they're saying here in their comments. Fentanyl is a DEA Schedule II synthetic morphine substitute anesthetic and analgesic. It is reported to be 80 to 200 times as potent as morphine and has a rapid onset of action as well as addictive properties. So did Cleo inject her with fentanyl? Did he somehow put fentanyl in her system? Was he trying to use that to knock her out? I don't know nearly as much about fentanyl as I should. Signs associated with fentanyl toxicity include severe respiratory depression, seizures, hypotension, coma, and death. Well, I'm thinking that's got to be it. Something I don't believe that she would be taking fentanyl. I find that hard to believe. So, how did that get in her system? I'm going to assume that has to do something to do with Cleo Abston. That's my guess. Obviously, that's not fact. But yeah, that's really strange, you guys. And this would be, I guess, the last page. So they have the lab reports here. That's got the fentanyl. I don't think they got the assay report in here because this is just the same lab report with all the drugs in her system. So yeah, there's no the assay report's not in here at this point. So we'll have to, when we get that we'll have to see what that one says. So wow, so that's a lot. This really showed us a lot of information. Not only was she shot and he had some sort of weapon that he hit her with in the face and the head, she's got fentanyl in her system. What the heck? How did that happen? I really believe it's this guy right here on the left. I believe every single bit, everything was his fault. I mean, I could see the caffeine and some of the other things in her system because of coffee or pre-workout or what have you in the morning. Fentanyl? No, I don't believe that she did fentanyl. I really don't believe that at all. My guess, my thing is, I believe I'm very sus that Cleo, maybe he put it in an injection. Maybe he had a needle and he tried to inject her with it, and that was during the struggle of the 4 minutes. Or was it later? And then, of course, we don't know at this point if she was ARD. We're going to learn that one as well, but what a horrific thing. I mean, we already thought it was horrific what she went through, and this just made it all more visually disturbing, that's for sure. But I feel really awful for her family, her husband, and her kids, and the rest of her family at this point. And I cannot believe that Cleo's mom believes he's innocent. I did discuss that in the brief live I did right before I left for the hurricane. Cleo's mama believes that her baby is innocent. Sorry, not buying it whatsoever. He has been a criminal since he was like 11. You know, he's not rehabilitated. In my opinion, he should be locked up and throw away the key. That's my opinion. And as far as if he's gonna get the chair or something, you know, or lethal, I don't know. I mean, that's gonna be a whole nother situation. But I definitely believe he needs to be in behind bars for life. He took this poor innocent mother and teacher away. For what? For what? For money? I don't really understand what, you know, I mean, really, he's just a monster. That's the bottom line. All right, guys, so I wanted to get that covered, and that way if you hadn't heard about this, you're kind of up to date as well. This is just horrific, and like I said, I'm going to be following Eliza's case all the way through. I want to see justice for Eliza. I truly, truly do. She deserves justice, as does her family, and her 2 little boys deserve to know that their mother had justice. They're already going to be without her. They deserve that. They really, truly do. Okay, so that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And before you're on your way out, hit that like button and leave me any comments on what you think of Cleo the Monster. Let me know. And if you have any missing persons or any cases you'd like me to cover, you can always drop me an email. I do have that in the information rather of every video, or you can also join my Facebook group and post there for me. I always like to take any requests. I'm always up for that. With that said and done, I hope you guys have a great one, and stay safe.